Welcome back to Big Trouble in Little Podcast. I'm Andy.
I'm Chaz.
I'm Joe Dubs.
I'm Zach.
This is Too Big to Fail, episode 327. Oh, it's one of my favorite numbers. Episode 327. We're discussing a Disney bomb, John Carter from 2012. Chaz, you chose this movie. Why did you choose this movie?
Yeah, so I chose this movie because flashback to 2012. I am in the midst of
It needs revenge.
the midst of medical school, really very, very, very busy studying and whatnot. And I remember seeing endless amounts of advertising for this movie.
But they had like fast food tie-ins and stuff too, right?
Yeah, like
toys and
I can remember even hearing like things being hyped about this movie about being the next Star Wars, and so I can like vividly remember like specifically really cool things that were. I think we actually talked about this last week. There were like very large poster graphics for this at the local movie theater where at the time I think we both lived there in Huntington, and there was just so much about this movie as far as about how big of a deal it was going to be, but very little for what I had seen explained anything about what the movie was or anything, which, not that you need something anytime, but I had no idea what the movie was. But me being busy, I never had a chance to go see it. I never bothered with trying to go watch it, nothing. And I remember or recall the movie itself kind of being a bust, like, and that was that. And then several years later, I don't know if it was just on television or I was bored or what, but I remember I was sick, and I remember watching this movie, and maybe it was like the lucidity of a fever dream, but I remember watching this and getting heavily invested in the movie and thinking, oh, this movie was really good. Let me see if they ever plan on making any more. And that was actually when I discovered that it was a disastrous flop. I had no idea, but it made sense because it was years later and they hadn't I was like, oh, why did they make another? And I actually learned a lot more about how this was supposed to be a big series. This was supposed to be their next launching into Star Wars. Like they were going to do
based on a series of. There's 11 books, so they had lots of stuff to pull from.
Exactly. And this is actually one of the. If I remember, it's one of the later books.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's the first one.
Oh, is it the first one? Okay. I thought I'd seen something that it was one of the later books, but that may make more sense.
I'm sure they pulled more little pieces or something, but
probably.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's a whole series about what is like the Burroughs of Barsoom, and there's like the gods of Mars, and it goes much more into the detail of some of the particular characters that have like this very vague, mysterious origin. I remember the Mark Strong.
Does that sound
character.
Like it will make a good film series? Like if you'd never seen this movie before and someone told you about Edgar Rice Burroughs' John Carter on Mars, would you say, "Oh man, movie series"?
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like it would be good. It is literally, and as far as like if we're going back like historically, let's just go back to a period in time where we're dealing with early film, and you have people are still largely reading books, right, or going to see playwrights if they're going to see anything. Like film was just barely a concept at the time, or it was just an emerging thing. This series of books was often thought of as the comparable sci-fi epic to Tolkien's work, right? Like that's how it's compared in some ways. But if you look back and read about some literary historians, they'll talk about how maybe it wasn't as successful but it's just as far as epic scale. Like that's how these books were looked at. So it's like in a different world or different situation, this could have been a Peter Jackson trilogy, and then but obviously it's not. So anyway, the reason I'm building all that up is I thought it was so fascinating that something that had all the potential to be good, had Disney's backing and all the money in the world that they needed, and watching it, and I don't know if you guys agree. I don't think it's a perfect movie by any means. It's got flaws, and I would even say it's a great movie, but it's a pretty good movie. I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
popcorn film, right? Like there's a lot of promise here, especially if it's building to a series. So it's trying to figure out, how did this movie fail so miserably? And it was one of the things that interested me in this topic anyway, of movies that are too big to fail. Most movies, if we picked a large list of the biggest to fail movies, they failed because they just suck. Like so many of these movies just failed because they're bad movies. But this movie to me sticks out as one movie that actually had everything it needed and it was good. And by today's standards of a movie, this movie would be an absolute hit. Like if you see some of the schlock we've watched over the last 10 years, this movie holds up graphically and story writing wise better than many of the movies or series we get on Netflix now. So the thought is, why did this
It cost a gajillion dollars though.
Do you
well,
want to
okay,
know?
that's fair. That's a big part of why it failed, because it had this budget that was almost impossible to reach anyway, right?
Mhm.
So that's why I wanted to talk about it. Like, okay, I mean, we can talk about the movie too, but to me, it's so much more interesting to think, why did this movie fail? Because I don't know why, other than the fact that I feel like literally money was dumped into a pit, and all the wrong steps in marketing were made. Like they marketed, but they didn't explain it. And specifically, they did a gimmick, which I want you guys to talk to. I'm going to ramble forever. But they did a gimmick that they've learned nothing from, because they just recently did this same gimmick, and it was effectively inconsequential, and it's stupid. But nevertheless, Dubs, you were going to say something.
So I asked Google AI. I was like, because you were wondering why it possibly, shit the bed. Maybe. Here's some bangers that happened during the year 2012, or close to when John Carter came out. The Avengers was 2012. The Hobbit: The Unexpected Journey came out.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
Skyfall.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it had those fucking big hitters. Because keep in mind, we know in hindsight right now that The Hobbit wasn't the greatest. But when that movie was fucking being released, The Hobbit, people were like, fuck yeah.
People
Peter
were
Jackson.
remembering Lord of the Rings, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, another one!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
We all went to see it. And we were like, "Oh, it's 3D. Okay, I guess."
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we saw it, and we were like, "Why was I bored?"
Yep, absolutely. I saw it in theaters. I was excited, and then it was like, oh.
To this day, I haven't seen the third one. I couldn't do it. I got too.
Oh, no, you're doing yourself a disservice by not watching it, but you will be mad. Like, have the little
Okay, that gives me a lot to look forward to.
Like, it'd be a great movie.
Speaking of stakers, though, so we all researched the movie after we watched it. It sounds like,
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. So we're all aware of the novels, and we're all aware of the movie's legacy and stuff like that. So you think it's not great, but it's a good movie. Like, what would you rate it out of 5 or 10 or whatever?
Okay, well, out of 10, this is, to me, like, I guess my scale's kind of weird, but like, this is pretty close, if not a 7. Like, I think it's a good popcorn flick action movie. It's got some good story elements.
7 out of 10.
Yeah, 7 out of 10.
Zach, what do you think?
Maybe lukewarm 6.5. Yeah.
I do decimals. It's 6.6 out of 10 for me
6.6. Okay, well,
so far.
I guess you all liked it more than I did, but
Okay.
like, I didn't like despise it. I wasn't like angry about it. It's just I feel like a big part of the reason it failed is because the story is like I don't know. It's weird. It's like the simplest story ever told. Like there's a princess and a hero's journey or whatever, but it's got this thick veneer of just incomprehensible bullshit around it. Like I have always liked when movies do something where they like invent things and they don't explain them outright. But usually when movies do that really well, they do a really good job of like explaining through context clues. This movie doesn't do that. This movie just establishes rules and follows them rigidly and then never gives the viewer a chance to figure out what that means.
Mm-hmm. That is one of its flaws. Absolutely.
And it just, there's so many, it heaps characters and concepts upon you really quick. And it never does that thing. Like John Carter's a fish out of water. perfect storytelling device. John Carter should constantly be asking questions about what's this, what's that, why is this happening, why does he get to do this, why is she like that? But he doesn't. He never asks anything. He just kind of rolls with everything, and that's the kind of character he is. I get that, but we need a fish out of water so that he can say, wait a minute, who's this guy? Is he like in charge or something? Like, wait, there's two kingdoms? Oh, hang on, the city's like on legs or something? Like, he never asks any questions. He just like, oh, okay, I guess it's the Walking City, and these are the bad guys. He just decides they're the bad guys. No one ever in the entirety of the movie explains why the bad guys are the bad guys. He just picks a side because they have the hottest princess. That's it. That's the entire reason that he joins that side. There's never like, oh, they're causing genocide, or they're doing like the prologue explains to us that like they've destroyed a bunch of other cities with their big walking. John Carter doesn't know that.
Yeah,
he never gets told that. He's just kind of I'm a hero. I guess I'll just help this side because reasons.
Yeah, it's a huge problem because as someone who's been watching beforehand when they explain it, but he doesn't know, and because they don't give him a way to find out, it is bad writing. I agree, that's a flaw.
Like he says something like, "Oh, I love a lost cause." It's like, yeah, you were a Confederate, so that makes sense.
I mean, of course, it was all shot in real time in Arizona. This is clearly just Arizona, right? No CGI involved. But in all seriousness, I thought the scale that they shoot things is really cool. And I'll defend a little bit of the point you made, like taking the other side. Yes, the large, like, overarching plot of him choosing a side is just not explained, and there's not really a good reason given for him to decide. It's like he magically knows what path he has to take to who to defeat and what he has to do it without deciding anything. He just goes by, oh, she's good looking, and she said that she was forced to marry this guy, but didn't give any reason as to why it would matter. When in actuality, she clearly, finds out too that he finds out at some point that she also could just save everybody by getting married, but that's its own thing. I think that one of the things it does, though, is it does at least explain a little bit of the fish out of water. Like at first he's completely not sure where he's at, but then they do get to a point where he finds out, okay, I'm actually on a different planet altogether. And he's trying to gradually figure out, things about the world around him, but. Like, I think a lot of it is that it's just rushed. There's just so much information that they're trying to get, and they just don't correctly, like, they spoon feed certain things, and then some things they give you no explanation, and then the plot gets lost in the thick of that because you as a viewer know what's happening, but he doesn't know. So then there's no reason for him to make some of the decisions that he makes, right? Like, that's the biggest flaw of the movie, I think. But if you can set that aside, I think, like, again, it's just a popcorn action flick. It's not bad. Like, it's a pretty good film. I feel like I've seen much lazier storytelling and writing in much more popular films. And that was always the thing that got me.
Disney, Star Wars, and Marvel is a good example of being like shitty storytelling. When you have all that fucking source material and you still fuck up, is kind of, in my apartment, dropping the ball. And that's why I said in Facebook Messenger, I said, I think this movie came out in the wrong year. Like, if it came out today, I think people would be like, oh, this is like a breath of fresh air, essentially. They might like try to like compare, be like, oh, there was a princess, kind of like Princess Leia in Star Wars and all that stuff. And you have these kingdoms, and then you have these like shapeshifter that are kind of like the Sith in some way. What I really liked about this movie is I wanted to know more about the world, because the world was more interesting than
me too, desperately so.
Yeah.
That was one of my big hang-ups. Like, I was like, what's going on? Who are these people? Why are they like that? Like, when they come out of that weird the I don't know what it was. The structure where they learn about the 9 orbs.
That was interesting.
There's a group of the insect alien guys there, and they're just gonna fight. Like, I understand it's the evil guy that's like manipulating them into doing this, but it just kind of happens. And I wanted to know more about like, wait, what are the politics between all these tribes and like how do they feel about other things? And you learn about it a little bit during that air battle, but that's it. That's all you get.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the Thark were fighting them. You're talking about when they come out of there and they're trying to kill all of them, basically.
Yeah. And then he kills like 40 of them.
Because he was doing sacrilege to all their religious shit. That's why.
I guess so. He just kind of is there. It doesn't. I don't know. Sure. That's more than nothing. It's more than I said. That's
like
true.
if you went up to like Mecca and you just like was fucking around and humping it and you expect to get out of there alive. I guess. Like I don't think so.
Just Tom Green. My bum is on the church. My bum is on the church.
That one's easily explainable to me, but the other stuff like you're talking about, no, not as much.
I was frustrated by a little bit of a left turn here. I was interested at the beginning when it's a Western. And he's just kind of like he's a disillusioned Confederate soldier, Confederate cavalryman. He's just kind of seeking a fortune in the Arizona desert. He's looking for a cave of gold. Where's that? I want to just watch that movie. That sounded fine to me.
Yeah, they give you like the vague, very, very like little breadcrumbs of like there's a reason why he is how he is.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston's there and he's doing a great job. That's another problem I had with this movie. There's a bunch of supporting actors that do great. Main guy, he's fine.
Yeah.
Main guy and what's her face, the princess, both of them kind of suck.
I have a whole theory on that. So I was trying to figure out where I knew them from. Both of our leading roles, so to speak. Do you know what like large film they got their start on as far as a big film right before this?
No.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Was he Gambit?
He was Gambit.
Oh no.
Yeah, and she was oh shit, I can't even remember the name of the other.
Was it Psylocke?
Character. No, she wasn't Psylocke. Was it Silver Fox? Was that her name?
I haven't seen that movie since it was in theaters.
I don't remember it because it's not worth remembering.
It is not worth remembering, man. Yeah.
I wanted this guy to actually sound like he was from Virginia. It was bullshit. Like I actually had like he kept saying I'm from Virginia. I'm like I can't tell.
Yeah, and you get that really stupid scene where he gets captured and he's like, I can't remember. He calls the guy sir, and he's like, "Oh, you must be from the South." That's the first time in the whole fucking movie he calls someone sir. It's just out of nowhere, just so they can have that one smart ass line.
It's like, could they not tell this dude? Can you do like a Southern drawl, even if it's like a little
sound
stereotypical?
Virginian, maybe?
Yeah. No,
yeah.
He's like, no, I can't do it. It's like, all right.
Impossible.
It's another bit of just like lazy writing. Like you could have done a little more to make it stick.
But yeah, like Bryan Cranston was good. I liked Willem Dafoe as the voice of the guy. That was pretty good.
Guy. Yeah.
Tarkin.
I pointed out to you guys, you're not going to care. Most of our viewers won't care. But for some reason, both Julius Caesar and Mark Antony from the HBO series Rome are in this movie. And they're in a lot of the same scenes together. And it just kept giving me like heavy, like Roman vibes. Caesar is her father, the king. And Mark Antony is her servant, the guy who gets the main.
Oh yeah, he's
gets
funny.
John Carter out of prison at one point, or out of captivity at one point.
It doesn't help. They're kind of dressed vaguely Roman-ish.
Right? Yeah, like their uniform was like kind of like space Roman or something. And I thought about it a lot. I was like, man, I wish I was watching Rome right now.
This is space Rome.
Yeah, there's just a lot of people in this movie. There's like a deep supporting cast, and I feel like you don't get enough of each of the people that are there. Like again, Bryan Cranston's in this movie almost no time.
Yeah. Sure.
I made the whole thing of you get the guy from Spy Kids, which that's just its own joke, but still. I mean, someone's got to play that character, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think that again, the movie has its flaws. My thing is, I've seen a lot worse, and I still was trying to wrap my head around how this was one of these movies that had all the hype behind it, failed miserably, and at least in my opinion, it comes to a couple of factors. We've already touched on a couple of them. The big one being this movie far exceeded any budget it ever needed to have. Like this movie had beyond like an Avengers level budget, and never had like a chance to make that, right?
Well, they definitely couldn't do any of this with like practical effects. They couldn't have whole races of bizarre aliens and the white apes and all these not spaceships, but all these ships. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of required. It's 2012, and I imagine that stuff's still pretty expensive. What are we
Yes.
2 Toy Stories in at that point? I think so.
Yeah, we're 3. We're 3 in. We're pretty well past 3, but that's splitting doll hairs. So there's deep budget. You have the timing it came out. It has almost like the comparison I think of is Titanfall 2. Like, it came out at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
Like, it came out and all these like hammers are out. Now, that's not me saying this movie is the Titanfall 2 of movies that fail, because that's so far from the truth. Titanfall 2 is it's this hidden gem that had all the reasons to need to succeed and failed for different reasons. But anyway, it's an amazing game. That all aside, this has again the window that it comes out, and then again I really think the marketing campaign for this movie was so strange. Like, one of the gimmick that they go with here, they call this movie John Carter, and unless you're specifically at a movie theater, they don't give you a ton to go on of what the movie's about. Very early trailers for this movie tell you nothing about it. They literally were doing the thing where they're putting up like the large silhouette with music playing in the background. It's really dramatic, and it just says John Carter coming soon.
You can't just say it's the next big thing. It has to be the next big thing.
Right.
In other markets, this movie was called The Princess of Mars, or whatever the actual name of the book is. That would have been the move. That's what they should have called it.
So
that's what I was going to say.
They do the gimmick thing. They actually change the name of the film at the end of the movie. This movie is actually called John Carter of Mars, which is the book. And then, and like you said, in other countries, it's got a different name entirely. But, this movie is supposed to be called John Carter of Mars. So they do the gimmick thing where they're like, we're going to name it this, and at the end, we're going to change it, and it's going to blow.
Yeah, I remember the trailer some, and it made it look like everything's brown, and he fights some giant apes. It looked like Conan the Barbarian, is what it looked like in the trailers.
Yeah, there's no way to know like what's going on really, and they give you nothing to go on. It's like, oh, okay, it's an action-y type of thing. So then I think like the marketing just didn't draw people because it was too vague to say what it was.
Nobody could tell what it was. Yeah.
If you would have leaned into the fact, hey, this is like the space epic that existed 100 years ago, that was actually one of like the platforms people used to make sci-fi later on. Like,
you were trying to rely on no longer existent brand recognition. Like no one had thought about John Carter since like 1955 or something.
Exactly. But that's the irony of it, is that without the books, you wouldn't have some of the things that exist.
They should have republished all the
later.
books, which from what I understand, they fucking didn't.
Yeah, exactly. It would have made all the sense in the world. Like, give yourself another chance to like get people to know what this is, and then you're marketing for yourself. So the reason I bring up the thing about the name being dumb is we have a movie that recently came out that was actually somewhat successful, but it changed its name at the end.
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts changed its name at the end, and it was pretty much inconsequential. At the very least, at the most, you could say it's just a dumb gimmick. Like, why waste time on that? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't do anything for the movie.
Isn't it Thunderbolts with an asterisk? Haven't they been hammering that home because it's New Avengers or whatever?
Well, it's Thunderbolts.
I haven't seen the movie, but I'm aware of it.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. It was Thunderbolts with an asterisk because the asterisk was supposed to be like their symbol, but then really the asterisk is there because they changed the name, and the name of the movie is really the New Avengers. And
tinfoil hat, by the way, just to quickly get this out, I think they did that because they were just like, oh, we actually did good with this movie. Let's bring out the name, because imagine if they came out with New Avengers when it first came out, and then people came in like, where's Tony Stark? And then like and then there you go, this movie's shit because there's no Tony Stark, there's no Captain America and all that stuff. So I think that's why they were like, let's do Thunderbolts, let's feel out the water, and then all of a sudden, hey guys, New Avengers.
Yeah, but at the same time, the whole thing is that they're the New Avengers, but they're not the Avengers. Like, there's a whole separate team of Avengers.
I know, but casual people are dumb, and
I guess it's whatever. The point is like that that whole thing just seems like a wasted gimmick. It doesn't do anything for the product itself. Like, you don't gain anything from, I changed the name, other than, I guess, people talking about it. But people can talk about it, but are people going to see the movie? I mean, it didn't make me go see it. I had the same problems that were keeping me from seeing it anyway. So,
Yeah.
but
I think it come down to the leads. Like John Carter, the guy who plays it, I just, like you guys said, I don't think it was a good eye catch. Like, maybe if they had some big name be John Carter, they'd be like, oh, and I'm just using this as an example. Antonio Banderas is John Carter. What? Like,
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah. Or, like, if like that happened, they'd be like, what's up with this movie? What is it about? And maybe that would intrigue people. But they were like, Taylor Kitsch, the fucking Gambit.
I mean, it can work. You can get a relative nobody and blow it up, but they have to be good. Like, they have to be a real good actor, and they have to be directed real well, and then the movie has to just be good. And one or all of those factors was missing here. Either he sucks, or the script sucks, or the direction sucks, or something sucks, or all of it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I would agree. It's there. That's the big thing holding it back.
Did you guys look into this director? What else he made?
Oh, no, that's the one.
Animated stuff, but specifically like what it is. It's just weird. Like, why did they choose this director?
Bugs Life and Toy Story and all that.
Oh my god!
The writer for
what is it? The bees that attack the bugs, or is it grasshoppers? Right?
grasshoppers.
No, I thought it was.
I mean, he is the director for Toy Story 5 that's coming out. Seeing that's kind of
making
crazy.
another Toy
No,
Story?
what stood out to me was Finding Dory, Finding Nemo, Wall-E. Yeah, he was writer on those, but he directed the Nemo and Dory, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking. He directed Finding Nemo,
Right.
Finding Dory,
Yeah,
Wall-E.
he was a writer for a bunch of Pixar shit, but director is
It looks like they just tried to pick someone safe, like in-house.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't work out. Because, I mean, and that stinks too, because, I mean, Finding Nemo is a classic. It's great. A Bug's Life's an awesome movie for what it is. It's literally animated Seven Samurai, right? Wall-E is a movie I still need to watch, so I can't really have a take. But man, Wall-E's got some high ratings. I need to check it out.
Good.
Yeah, Finding Dory's good. Apparently, he directed a single episode of Better Call Saul that has crazy high ratings.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's funny.
Yeah, I'm just looking through. Like, the guy has like a pretty good but like strange reputation. Like, it's like sci-fi epic is not it. So
yeah, exactly. Like, he had never directed a movie like this.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, big parts of this movie are basically anime. I'm sure they shot it just like they shot the Star Wars prequels, just on a soundstage with a green background. But
oh, sure,
it's still not animation. It can get real close to animation, but it's still not animation.
Yeah, and it almost makes you think for like sake of production and the timing, because I don't know how all this lines up with when Disney is trying to acquire the rights to Star Wars.
From what I understand, they had been trying since the 90s. So,
like, well, I guess more so like when they actually are closing the deal, and right. So, like, my thought is, was this their attempt to break into that market, and then this fails in a colossal way, and instead of them doubling down and trying to make more of the series, they just said fuck it and went on and made episode 7 through 9. Like, that's what it kind of feels like, right?
Yeah,
there might be that might be possible.
Yeah,
I think they were hoping that this would be a hit because of one reason that Disney always loves to fucking do with cute things.
You want to talk about the dog? The dog sucks. Yeah. The dog's the worst part of this movie.
Oh, you don't like the dog with the weird like alien pug face that has super speed?
No, it's stupid. It's stupid in every conceivable way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I can't believe Mr. Dog hates the fucking dog. I got to hear the explanation for this.
I mean, you also hate Jeff the Land Shark too.
Hate what?
Never mind. It's a Marvel character.
I hate him because he's just cheap as fuck.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb.
Oh, in the game?
Oh, in the game? Yeah, he is cheap as fucking Marvel Rivals. It's a whole different thing, though.
I thought that's what you was talking about with that there.
I mean, that applies. That's largely what I know the character from, but this character kind of reminds me of him. Of like, if it weren't a shark, it was just an alien. It'd be the same.
Because
he's plot armor, because he helps him.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But anyway, I think they were hoping this. I mean, obviously, every company is gonna hope everything is a hit, but I think they were like, "Fuck yeah, this dog, these fucking Dune-like fucking vehicles that they got going on."
Yeah, they're all toys. We're
Yeah.
gonna sell all these toys. Oh man, it's gonna kick ass. It's gonna be just like Star Wars. Toys, toys, toys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So what they should have done is
made the dog cute. Yeah, that would have been a good start.
Yeah, that too. But also, like you guys had re-released the books. I would have gone further because I'm thinking people are dumb and they don't want to read or whatever. But they do like a graphic novel. I think
There are comics. Marvel put out comics of John Carter from Mars in like the 70s, I think.
Yeah, they should have re-released it probably, or just come out with a new modern version of it.
Maybe. Yeah, graphic novel would be fine. Re-releasing the Marvel comics, re-releasing the books, for God's sake. From what I understand, the books haven't been published since like the 60s or 70s. It's one of those things that in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to run into it like a Goodwill or something, but I never have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'd pick one up. I'd pick up a John Carter book. That'd be a good old read.
Yeah.
But the world is like, I got so invested into a world and then the movie ended and I was just like sad because we're not going to get anything, obviously. Or maybe they might bring it up down the road, maybe. But I was like,
the books.
Yeah, Helium and the other cities. I was like, I want to know if there's more people because they had this like God thing that they were talking about going down the river, and I was like, oh, and then we got that church area with the lights and stuff, and I was like, oh man, this is fucking cool. I want to know.
I was thinking about what you're saying, like about it coming back, and it seems impossible and unlikely. And this movie failed more spectacularly than the example I'm about to bring up, but it doesn't feel impossible because right around the same time, Disney was like experimenting with like, oh, we don't have Star Wars. What can we pump up to be like Star Wars? John Carter was one example, but the other one was Tron Legacy. Tron Legacy came out like a couple years before this. It might have been the same year. I don't think it was. It was like 2011 or something, but it came out and it did okay. Like it was held up a lot by star power. Jeff Bridges is actually in it, which is a big difference, and a pretty cool soundtrack. And then it just kind of went away. And then now this year they're like, yeah, well, we will do another Tron. Actually, I think we'll do another Tron after all. So I don't think it's impossible we can get another John Carter movie.
Yeah, and I mean they've went all in on that too because I mean there's now a ride at Disney World that is Tron themed. It's one of the most popular rides. I have still yet to get on it. I'm so mad.
They keep trying to push Tron, and goddamn it, I wish it would work because I really dig that stuff. I was actually going to watch the TV show soon, even though I don't think I'm the target audience, but it's just like I like Tron. I want to see the Tron stuff.
I think Tron Legacy was like one of the first movies that they de-aged like an old actor. Because
I remember that being a big deal. Yeah.
But yeah. I actually would want I almost said Jeff Carter. He's a hockey player. John Carter to be like a show essentially, because what I like a lot is like when he got kicked back to his Earth and stuff, and he was like trying to get back to Mars and stuff. All that stuff that was happening over there. I was like, that's interesting. I want to know more about that, and also like Ned, his like nephew. And stuff that I would rather I would rather have him like investigate John Carter's like journal and then other stuff, and I would like more depth into that. But
I was hoping that's what we were gonna get, but then it just bookends, no pun intended, the movie, which is
so the other thing about this is like this movie is almost set up with all the depth that it has. This book series seems like the perfect thing for them if they ever wanted to reboot to just make a TV series about it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It would be a great series.
This might work better as in the TV format than.
Yeah, they should make it a Disney Plus exclusive. They should just do that instead of
it would be pretty good. The funny thing too, Dubs mentioned this stuff about like getting more of the lore of the gods and the other stuff. I think that's also an interesting thing to touch on too, because then again the other thing is the overarching bad guy in this are these. We don't know how many exist, but you have this very vague, mysterious being that seems godlike, but they're not. They're clearly not
shot.
completely invincible. Yeah, they can be killed, they can be tricked, but they are very powerful. And you don't know much more about them. But you also know for what the little information you get, they're these manipulators. Like they control and manipulate planets because they feed off the chaos and of the things that happen. So they're leading a lot of the things that happen. So then it makes you think, like, how much lore in a given world exists because they allow it to be. Like they push things to be a certain way, and like, you know, that helps manipulate what civilizations develop and exist in a
I feel kind of
planet.
stupid because he explains all of that, but I was still like, wait, why did they do it?
Oh no, but you're right. Like they don't really. All he says in a very vague, like one
But
sentence.
he says they
line
build
is
up and then collapse societies, but he never explains to what end. But you said they like feed off the chaos and something.
Yeah, he
That's
says
more than I got at it because I was like,
yeah.
I'm still confused. Like I still want to sit down with the guy and like ask like 30 more questions.
I think it's like some of those races in Star Trek that do things like that. Like they just they fuck with lesser races, and because that's just to them that's like
that makes more sense. Like
I kind of took it
I would buy.
I took it in a weird, like maybe I'm extending a branch out in trying to give them benefit of the doubt, but I kind of thought it like it's a hybrid between the Q race and Galactus. Like
that's kind of how I took it too. Really,
like they actually need to do that and control what happens because they feed off of whatever entropy gets created within that chaos and collapse of society. But also they're kind of amused by it.
When he first said it, yeah, amused by it. When he first said it, I thought about like The Sims and SimCity. Like I thought it was just like they were just fucking off and just.
Yeah. Oh, so you're just being a dick. You're just a kid with a magnifying glass.
They just delete the ladder out of the swimming pool because they're assholes.
Exactly. Good reference. That's good.
The author of fucking John Carter loves fucking space. He has like Pirates of Venus. I'm like, calm down, bro. Like Venus is a gas fucking planet, bro. Like stop.
Well, they didn't know that at the time. Like, Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote all the stuff in like what the 1920s or something.
I mean, like people around him are just like getting over the fact that witches might not exist, and you know we don't have antibiotics yet, and there's all this other shit going on, and he's like, oh yeah, but space. Like,
no, that guy's cool. I want to hang out with that guy.
It's pretty novel to think about what he's writing about. Like Tolkien's creating Middle Earth. This guy is taking like what little he knows about astrology. Or astronomy, not astrology. And
I hated that he named the city Helium. God, that bugged me.
Where's the hydrogen city or the argon city?
Right.
It was a cool sci-fi name that most people wouldn't know. Oh, Helium. Oh.
Yep.
You got to remember the time.
Yeah, but what's funny though too is as far as the movie goes, I'm much more fascinated by the story around the failure of the movie itself and the meta around that, as opposed to the movie itself. But the movie's still not bad.
To it. Like next week we're going to talk about a movie that had like a horrible production. Like it was doomed from the start. But like, does John Carter have that? Does John Carter have anything like, oh, if only this had gone better behind the scenes? Or did they just make what they thought was a great movie and it wasn't great?
I think it was the latter.
Yeah, no, I really think that they thought this was going to be like, I really think they thought this was too big to fail, and like, yeah, it just shit the bed immediately, but for not the reasons they didn't prepare for. But even then, it's like this movie still could have been super successful for what they have, and it's still not a good, like it's still not a great movie, right? But I mean, there are plenty of movies that are super successful and sell tons of tickets and aren't great, right?
Sure.
I mean,
definitely true. Are you ever going to watch it again? Watch it a third time?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'd probably watch this again. Like, it's one of those things, if I caught it on, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it, but, like, if I caught it on, I'd probably watch it.
I feel like we say that a lot, myself included. Like, oh, if it's on TV, whatever, watch it. That's never going to happen. I do not watch television. I don't know why I keep saying that. I don't have cable.
It's because... It's because in your mind that's still a thing that people do.
That's kind of the way
it's 100%
programmed. I mean, there's times I'll wake up and like I'm kind of just like drinking coffee, get my brain going, and I just like turn on the Amazon Fire Stick and I just flip. Whatever, Terminator 1.
This is a good way to look at it. For times I travel, whether for work or whatever enjoyment, if I'm at a hotel. Like, even hotels now have, like, digital apps, whatever. You just turn the TV on, and something's like, this is one of those things, if I found it on, I was just sitting in my hotel, I would watch it. And I would recommend it. I think it's a recommendable movie. I'm not saying, oh god, it's a masterpiece, but I think it's an interesting thing for someone to watch, because the first thing I think, if someone goes in blind and knows nothing about this movie, the lore around it, anything, doesn't know about its reception, and just watched it, I would be interested to see what they had to follow up with. Like, oh, is there another movie? And then they go down that deep rabbit hole and realize, oh, this movie fell flat on its ass.
I think
Right?
you could trick modern audiences into loving this movie.
Oh, no, you absolutely could.
I'm pretty sure that like we talked about this a little bit last week, actually, where there's like this found again idea that Heaven's Gate is actually like a misunderstood masterpiece. I feel like if Disney invested the time and bought the right bloggers, they could do that with this movie.
You could, and I actually think you would be more convincing, because
Yeah.
I think this movie is a better movie than Heaven's Gate.
Oh yeah, no, I think so too. I think if they threw some money at
Yeah.
some YouTube influencers, some reviewers,
Mhm.
this could be a huge. They could blow this back up. Like they might be too busy doing other things right now, but that
Yeah.
seems 1,000% possible.
I mean, that would be step one in the revival of this, whether it
Yeah.
be a Disney Plus series or just a remake of the movie entirely.
And they
or
did it
of
with the
something
Star
else.
Wars prequels. They just threw money around, and then a bunch
Yeah.
of people wrote articles about how they misunderstood masterpieces. And now everyone's like,
Actually-
"Oh, they're great. At least they're better than the sequels." Which
No, that pisses me off, because remember how fucking all those motherfuckers defended the Last Jedi, and then they put out a fucking article about their rating all the Star Wars movies, and guess where fucking the Last Jedi was? Dead fucking last.
Okay, that's what's
So-
popular. It's popular to think it's the worst one.
Yeah, fuck them.
But yeah, no, they could totally buy this movie's popularity right now, tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's why I said if this movie came out now, because there's Marvel fatigue, there's Star Wars fatigue. Like, this is like a new thing. Like, I guess you could say Avatar came out and the second one came out, but
I wonder if there's like if they can insert a bunch of stuff to fix the problems I have with it, and then make it like a 6-episode miniseries event on Disney Plus. Maybe that'd fix it. I don't know.
the one genuine thing that made me laugh in this movie is those grasshopper people, the one with the
Darks.
green people. Yeah.
Darks.
When they say they don't fly and then they fucking flew and they crash and like, let's not do this again. And they get out of the. I was like, that was funny. I'll admit
Yeah.
that was kind of cool.
So going back to what Andy was even saying with the 6th episode thing, like the movie already even lends itself to that, because there's so many elements of this whole fish out of water character, several moments where he gets stuck in a situation that just looks pretty dire, that are perfect for cliffhangers to the next episode, right? As you build up but then you take time to flesh out backstory.
Oh, like
And-
she turns around and he's not in the throne room anymore, and she's like, I didn't know you were alone," and she says, "I guess I am." Hey, credits right there. That's how it's
Yeah, it's stuff like that. No, absolutely. There's so many different situations where you could do that, but then also have the time to actually lean into the world building a little more, lean into him actually developing as a character, because just as much as he is just who he is, he's also supposed to be like this misunderstood, like, or I guess not misunderstood, but like, I think disillusion's the word you used earlier, which is good, because he's grieving, right?
Yeah,
it's like-
apparently his wife and daughter died, and
Yeah,
it might have been the Apaches, or it might have been the Union Army, or I don't know. We don't find out.
He
Yeah,
only
they never
remembered
tell you
that-
why. Yeah.
He only remembered that when he was starting to bang the fucking princess.
Yeah, he kisses her, and he remembers, "Oh yeah, my dead wife." It's like,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, I get it. That's but-
Yeah, the whole like he was gonna go to battle and like fight, and he's like, I'm going to death. I'm gonna go see my kids. He's thinking of that and getting his anger out. So like, but that's the thing, is you could flesh a lot more of that out, and it makes sense as to why. So then you give him character building to then use this world as his way to cope and move on. Like that's in the story. I mean, it's there. It's heavily undertoned.
This will be the last question, the last hypothetical question I asked. Now we're talking about Disney, which is like the most cynical, like money machine
the
filmmaking
devil.
organization on the planet. But that aside, would it be worth it to do everything we just said? Would it be worth it to sink $1 billion into fixing this movie and getting the actors back, or getting CG or whatever? Like, you got to spend a lot of money that could be used somewhere else. Is it worth it? Should they do it?
I
Yeah,
think so.
all
Yes.
of my ideas are $1 billion ideas. So yeah.
Yeah, I think they should do it as an animated series.
So there's nothing else they could do with that $1 billion that would be better.
What do you think would be better?
I don't know. I'm not a tastemaker. I'm not a Disney Hollywood hotshot.
I would
maybe this is the best idea. That's all. Just it's a hypothetical question. Like, is John Carter worth saving? Because I think, like I said, I think they could do it. I think they could do it easily. But will they and should they?
I think it's worth saving for like the culturally for like sci-fi because they were really important books, source material, I think, and now it's like they're practically forgotten. Really,
what if they could just spend some of that money reprinting the 11 books?
That's also worth doing.
Yeah. I can remember watching. This is like how much I knew about how hyped this movie was. And again, they're not even explaining anything about it. I can remember an interview someone did about how someone mentioned how the story behind John Carter is to Star Wars in the same way that Lord of the Rings is to D&D. Like this is like crazy hyperbole, where they're trying to compare and hype up the movie, and they don't even explain what that means because they haven't even told you what John Carter's about. But the point is like it is one of those things that foundationally helped cement what sci-fi was early on and what it formed to be. So there's so much to it. Yeah. So for the sake of history, like it would be great for them to redo something with it and let people actually enjoy that story in more capacity. Like
I think there's even direct evidence of that because they always talk about how Star Wars was influenced by Flash Gordon serials. Well, Flash Gordon was influenced by John Carter. It's the same story.
Also, it's literally that. Yeah.
Like I don't think Dune would have happened if John Carter didn't happen before.
Yeah, no, they have a lot of similarities.
There was straight up a shot in this movie that reminded me of the opening shot of Dune, like David Lynch's Dune, when Virginia Madsen's like talking directly into the camera. And Deja Thoris is doing the same thing, and she's delivering like this weird speech about the history of her planet for like 30 seconds before she's like, "That's stupid. I can't do this." It's like it's the same shot. It's the same sequence.
Yeah, I think an animated show would be good for this property.
Do the whole thing in CG.
Yeah,
actually, that's a good idea. That because then you don't have to get any actors back.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And you can cast whoever you want. They can be ugly. But as long as they can deliver their lines good, who cares?
Yeah, they could get Chris Pratt to be the main guy, and he could knock it out in an afternoon.
No, then everybody would
Mario, not Super Mario. Speaking of, you want to talk about what movie we're gonna watch next week?
No.
Yeah, are we done talking about this one? So everyone, it sounded like you guys all recommend it, and you'd watch it again.
Yeah, I recommend it.
Okay, yeah. I don't recommend it. I might watch it again.
Sorry, I mean you fed me one hell of a segue there. I just had to take it.
No, it's fun. I like sci-fi a lot, but I wouldn't recommend this movie for everyone. But speaking of movies I would not recommend for everyone, next week we're going to watch Super Mario Brothers. I don't mean the candy-coated movie by committee DreamWorks piece of crap we got a couple years ago. Actually, that movie's fine. I have no real problems with it other than it's boring and by the numbers. It's not. The problem with the new one is it didn't try anything new, but the one from 1993 tried everything new. To disastrous consequences.
The one we're about to watch took acid and then said, let's go crazy.
No, it got drunk all day, every day, and it said, let's make a movie.
On PBR.
Now, what led me, I like to do the thing at the beginning of each episode where I say, why'd you choose this episode? I'm going to lead with a little bit of that for the teaser, and that is that I have a fascination with the behind-the-scenes stuff for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I watched it several times as a child, especially at a friend's house, and I haven't really revisited it in many years. I know it's a piece of crap. Like, if you're a listener and you like to watch the movies with us, do it if you want. But if you wanted to skip this one, that's fine, because this movie sucks. What you should do is Google all the script rewrites and all the stories from the cast from behind the scenes. I don't know how much we'll get into, but that's all fascinating. That's why I chose it. This movie's just a magnificent disaster. But make sure you watch it or don't.
Yeah, if anyone wants to join me on this too, because it's a little extra credit. For some reason, my wife is fascinated with this movie as well as the Double Dragon movie that came out in the 90s.
Oh,
I don't
God.
know why.
That one's not even like a magnificent disaster. It just kind of like sucks.
It just sucks, exactly. But for some reason, she's like, I just want to watch two polished turds. And I'm like, well, they're not even polished, but okay.
No, there's no polish on them.
Yeah, so we're going to like do a little thing where we watch these back to back. It's going to be a real 3-hour show.
I ain't watching Double Dragon. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. But if anybody wants to join me in that tournament, yeah, we're gonna get drunk and watch them and have a good time. We've
That's an
already
equivalent of a gas station sushi. Yeah.
Well, you know, as a famous person said, sometimes you got to plow 4 to appreciate an 8. So we're gonna plow some 4s.
No,
I don't even know if these are
This is a
4s.
3. You're plowing a 1, buddy.
I don't need to plow shit. I appreciate what I get. Not that.
Fair enough. Well, that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, I think we're ready to move on though.
No, that's something to look forward to. Like I said, if you want to watch it either way, but it's going to be a fun conversation. So make sure you join us next week. But anyway, for now, we're going to talk about what we've been watching, playing, doing. It's post credit scene. Chaz, you go first. I don't think you've gone first in a bit.
I haven't. I don't really have too much.
All right, then Dubs, you go.
It'll be quick. I've been testing, spending a lot of my free time that I've had testing Pokemon because I have my event in Akron this upcoming weekend. That's been largely what I've spent my time doing. I did watch a little bit of It's Always Sunny. I watched Sing 2, which is also still a McConaughey movie. So let's go.
Is that why you decided you like U2?
So, you know, funny enough, that's okay. So I watched that movie, and then there was something else I'd watched a while back, and it had a cover of a U2 song in it. I want to say the cover was With or Without You. But there are covers in this movie. And it's funny how this movie somehow turned into being an animated film about something entirely else. And then the last half of it just became Bono's like animated return to rock stardom. And I was like, I hate this. I feel like he like signed some contract where he made it like you have to do this. And I was like, this kind of sucks. But some of the covers sound pretty good, and I don't know if it's like an age thing where like I hear more, I pay more attention to certain things. But I don't know. Like I was listening back, I think, oh, maybe I've been a little too harsh over the years to YouTube because of their bullshit. And then I listened to those same songs and original covers, and I'm like, no, God, I can't stand his whiny ass voice. so I've moved on. But the covers are pretty good, but they're not sung by him. So there's that. But Sing 2 is still a fun little thing, and my kid's into it, so that makes it easier. It's like I don't have to watch Blippi or other bullshit, so it could be worse, right? The only other thing I wanted to talk was back with Pokemon. Our local kiddo. In juniors, Luke, he is now a 2-time Pokemon champion. He went to Portland this weekend and took down the whole event. So in the last like 2 months, he has now won 2 regional championships as a 10-year-old. The kid is just nuts.
So he's gonna have to go to like the international stuff, right?
Oh yeah, no, he's ranked like before this event he was ranked 4th or 5th in North America. So he'll probably jump to at least number 2, if not number 1 after this finish. 10? And he's 10. This is in his division. Is he? I mean, well, very, but that's its own thing. No, like,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but like they have their own division, right? Like juniors have their juniors
have their own. Yeah.
Yeah,
there's 3 divisions, right?
Yeah, it's junior, senior, master. So junior is like up to 12, and then senior is 12 to 15 or 16, and then 16 up is master. Gotcha. So he's not beating adults. But funny enough, this weekend when we all play, like we're playing in an unsanctioned event. Like it's an event hosted by a store that's doing their own cash stuff, not sponsored by Pokemon, and it is everyone's against everyone. So he's playing against the big boys. I'm actually really excited to watch him troll some adults because he's going to make some grown men really fucking mad. It's going to be hilarious.
Good.
I wish one of the players, like, as he beats the kid, goes, "You never had to make a varsity athlete," and then he, like, owns him.
No, actually, here's what he does: is I've seen him do it because I've seen him play against people who are like kind of good, but not like great, or even someone that's bad but just has an ego about it themselves. and he'll play someone, and they'll make some comment about how they got unlucky, and he'll say, "Well, actually, you did this, and you shouldn't have, and then you did this, and you shouldn't have, and then you did this, and it opened me up to this." And he'll 2 minutes later, you can see the steam. You can see the steam coming out of someone's fucking ears, and it is hilarious.
Oh, he's like a Pokemon autist.
Oh no, like if Sonic the Hedgehog were a Pokemon, he would be
the
one owner.
Pokemon.
Yeah, here's one.
Fair enough. Oh, that's good. But yeah, anyway, I'm very proud of him though. It's awesome. He's come a long way. Because he's only been playing for like 2 years. He's come a long way. But he's also a favorite now at North American Championships and Worlds. So I'm excited to see how he does. But yeah. Anyway,
put some money down on him.
I don't know if I mean, I guess somewhere I can find a place to bet on junior Pokemon.
There's gotta be. I'm sure
it exists. It's just a room full of Vietnamese men yelling, and I just imagine it's always sunny.
To put bets on esports. There's got to be for Pokemon. I'm sure of it, and Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic. I know there is. There has to be.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I could talk about that on its own separate thing off the side of the crazy side betting that happens in Magic, but that's a whole different thing, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble, so I'll just pass on to someone else.
Dubs, you go on, Dubs.
Okay, I moved a little bit forward in Ocarina of Time. I'm in the Lost Woods.
Okay, so you're an adult now.
I'm an adult.
Yeah. Oh, you are an adult. Like you got all 3 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Okay,
nice.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Because technically, you can be in the Lost Woods as a kid. I was like,
sure, yeah. I guess.
I was like, when he first said it, I was like, damn, Dubs, you've like played for 2 hours. What are you doing? But no, it makes more sense. You've got your.
I'm trucking along.
Yeah, you're gonna catch me. I actually played some. I mean, I might as well talk about it now because you brought it up. I played some. I did pretty much all of the overworld stuff. I'm gonna feel like doing like at least 80% of it, and now I'm gonna just like truck through some dungeons. But I'm like I'm about to go fight the final boss of the water dungeon.
Yeah, I'm saving my opinions for the game for our show. I'm having a good time. That's just a tease. Yeah. Besides like the controls, but like other than that, I'm like, this is a good Zelda game.
Suck on the Switch.
Yeah, they do. It is frustratingly clunky, but that's
every time I have to use a bow or my hook shot, I'm like, ugh.
Like I genuinely felt like I accomplished something whenever I beat all of the any of the games where you had to like accurately use the bow or the slingshot.
I say
specifically,
I fuck that. I'm not doing this.
the horseback riding one at the
yeah, like save scum that bitch.
I actively yelled "fuck yeah" when I did it, and yeah, I was pretty proud of myself.
Nice. I watched some racing, but it was a different type of racing. I watched the Coca-Cola 600 NASCAR.
I watched a tiny bit of it. I watched it for like 10 minutes.
I watched the tail end because people were like talking about it because I like looked on Reddit just because I was like, what's happening in the world of NASCAR? And they were talking about Ross Chastain, who was like in 40th place and like came all the way to first and won the whole thing. And apparently that's like hasn't been done in a really long time.
That's some Talladega Nights bullshit right there.
Yeah, it was like fucking wild and shit. Like the fucking the crowd was going insane. NASCAR is boring compared to F1. I actually like F1 better, probably because of all the
except for this weekend.
Yeah,
it depends. It's touch and go. I think it depends on what's going on.
It sounded like all the smart people were watching the Indy 500 this weekend.
I was going to, but I couldn't watch a replay yet. They didn't have it up yet.
Yeah, that's the thing is I have F1 TV, and you could watch the Coca-Cola 600, 500, whatever, for free on Amazon. But there wasn't a way to watch the Indy 500, so I was like, I guess I just won't watch it. And then after the fact, I heard like it was really good, and I was like, oh, God damn it!
Yeah.
It's just I don't think it was streaming on any regular streamer platforms. But
yeah, I think they have their own, like F1 TV, MLB. They have their own program or their own service, but that's it.
if you use
It used to be
YouTube
on Speed TV, but it's not anymore.
Yeah, if you have YouTube TV, you can go back and watch previous races. I think it's just like a delay thing when they put the replay up. Is what
I got you.
So I beat probably one of the worst Terminator games of all time, Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines for the PS3.
Beat a game. Look at this guy.
It is a fucking short ass game. It sucks dick. But
why?
Every time he's doing something, he's doing awful things.
Would you do something for you for a change? Would you watch something great or play something great? Especially this month, because we're watching trash for the show. Like, you should be like living it up.
Yeah, speaking of trash, I watched this movie called The Rift. It came out in 1990.
It sucked.
It did suck, but it had some like notable actors. It had like Ray Lee Emery, the fucking drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket. Ray Wise, who was in Twin Peaks as Laura Palmer's dad.
I've been seeing him in a lot of stuff lately. That's weird.
He's been in a lot of things.
Yeah, I guess I'd never really noticed him until I watched Twin Peaks, I guess.
The premise of this movie was like one of the submarines like blew up and got lost and stuff, so they sent another submarine with like these NATO officers plus Ray Lee Emery as a Navy captain for some strange reason. And they were trying to figure out what happened, and they came into this tunnel area, and then like it opened up and it was a cave, and that's where the other submarine crashed, and that's how they survived at a certain point. But something happened. No, something happened, and I thought it was going to be like The Thing, but they had like this algae growing in that area, and apparently it was like an alien that like turns people into like you know the movie The Body Snatchers, when they put them like in those pods and shit. It was kind of something like that, but they just fucking died. Like, I don't know what the purpose of the aliens, like what they were just killing things as they came. I don't know. But apparently Ray Wise's character was like a villain, where he was like double crossing his team to get this alien information and bring it back to some deep state fucking politician dude. And
he was the android, an alien.
No, he wasn't an alien. He was just like some government official deep state. Yeah. Movie ended weird. Like they killed Ray Wise's character, and they were just like, "Yay, we got rid of the alien and the bad guy." End of movie. And I was like, "Okay, this movie sucked," because I got like intrigued by like this alien thing, and then they just dropped the ball. It also had like very late 80s, early 90s type of like B-rated, like a bad movie, but a bad movie good. Like they had this black character named Skeet in the movie, where like you thought he was gonna be dead in like the first hour, because you know that trope that all black guys die first in all like horror movies and stuff. He like lasted a really long time, but he was like the comedic. Like they said, "Don't breathe in the air or you're gonna get infected." And he like takes off the fucking mask and he goes, "Yo, where you at?" He's like yelling at someone. I'm like, "Oh, he's dead." Yeah. Yeah, but I watched The Rift and I do not recommend, and it will be on that social media thing. I have to write it up.
Why did the Terminator game suck? You didn't get into that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was just like third person. The Terminators, like they glitched to a point where you can't fucking shoot them, so I had to like restart the console like 4 times.
It's a licensed game. It's a third person shooter, and it's from the 360/PS3 era. I guess that makes sense.
Checks all the boxes.
And it was like a 2-hour game. So imagine spending like $50 during that time.
Oh, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I'd return that sumbitch to GameStop. Yeah. I done conquered it.
You still put that on your accelerated gamer.
Yeah, still get it on.
Yeah, that's right. Other than that, it was Ocarina of Time, watch NASCAR, watch my Mets win, and I watched some NHL playoffs. It's okay. My team's not there, so I'm not like super invested into it. But yeah, that's all I did.
Zach, you want to go now or you want to go last?
Do you want to go now?
Nope, you have to choose.
I'll go. I watched some Star Trek, some more old Star Trek, just a couple episodes since we last recorded. I watched one where they ran into a giant space amoeba that was like devouring solar systems. And it almost devoured them too.
Whoa!
But they got out of it okay. It's pretty cool. Then the other episode I watched involved like this planet where Kirk visited before, where like they were still pretty early. The people that live there were still pretty early in like their evolution, you know, like in terms of like technology and things like that. It was like he went somewhere for like a vacation and he hung out with like some more primitive kind of people, and it's like he appreciated that time off from technology and everything. That's kind of like the vibe you get, really. They're going back there to visit it, and it's like now there's like different factions of these people, and they have flintlock rifles, while the guy he's friends with and all his guys, his tribe, they don't have any technology still. So like, why do they have flintlock rifles and they don't? Why are they trying to murder them? Like, what happened? Well, they find out that there was like a Klingon guy there that was basically trying to like exploit the planet and, you know, kind of turn everything the way they wanted it to. And then Kirk was like upset because he had to replicate flintlock rifles for everybody so they could have a war and get it over with. And he was really depressed.
Sounds like a violation of the Prime Directive, but okay.
Well, it was because like the way he justified it was they had to hurry up and have their war, and it had to be on fair and equal terms, because it couldn't be like, well, we can't just give these guys phasers because it's already fucked up anyway by the Klingon interference. So I think it's okay. He didn't like it. He likened it to I need you to replicate 100 serpents for the Garden of Eden. Like, he basically says something like that. But that one was decent. I watched some more, a little bit more wrestling bio videos. I think I saw the one about, oh geez, what was it? It had something to do with ECW. I don't know. He's doing this thing now where it's like he wants you to be a member of his channel. So I'm waiting for like these other videos to like come out of when they're blocked if you're not a member, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You can view them. So I'm kind of waiting on those right now.
A paywall.
Yeah, he's paywalling me right now. I'm like, oh well, I guess I'll wait on these other more interesting ones.
Mm-hmm.
Watched G Gundam. I watched it like 3 episodes of G Gundam. It's been a really long time since I've watched it.
I fucking love that series. It's terrible. Like, it makes no sense and it's nonsense, but God, it's fun.
Yeah, it's just goofy. And I think that's one where no, you watch the dub. Don't be like a snob and watch the fucking Japanese sub of it.
Yeah, I've never seen the sub of that. It's always been the dub for me.
Why would you want to?
I mean, the dub is good, so
it's totally goofy. It fits with like everything. I love how everybody says, "I want to have a Gundam fight match." It's like the 3 things. It just say it's a Gundam fight or it's a Gundam match. And what kills me is they do say both variations of that. They'll say, "I want a Gundam match" or a Gundam fight, and then like 2 sentences later, somebody says Gundam fight match. It's like, what the? You're all saying the same thing. But,
they had more lip flaps. They had to put something there.
Yeah, they had to put something there. But G Gundam's great. It's silly. It was also the first attempt by Bandai Studios to like create a Gundam series that wasn't connected to Universal Century. Somebody had the idea, well, let's just make a new timeline, and it's like, what do we do? They have wrestling matches with Gundams, and they don't have wars. But they do kind of have it's like they did this to avoid having a war, but like what happens is like Earth is just like the battleground for these Gundam fights. It's just trashed. Like Earth is like borderline post-apocalyptic in this timeline.
They just fight in the Middle East.
No, they fight everywhere. Everywhere's fucked up. Like some areas aren't too bad, but it's like New York. Like the second episode, you're in New York, and it just looks run down. It looks like New York never got past the 70s, basically, is what it looks like.
A lot of the Gundam series, G Gundam included, play with this idea that we can go to space now, but the only people who can go to space are like rich, well-to-do people. So they all go to space, and the colonies are nice, and then there's the poor people who can't go to space are still on Earth.
Yeah, they're still on Earth, or they didn't want to leave Earth anyway.
Yes, I mean some of them are like environmentalists or optimists or whatever.
This is my home. I can't leave.
Right.
That kind of thing. G-Gundam's cool though. Check it out sometime if you've never seen it. It's fun.
It's fun.
I watched the first Mission Impossible movie.
You too, huh? Everyone's doing that now.
I haven't seen any of them, so
I've only seen the first two.
it was pretty good. It was a solid little 90s not sci-fi, spy thriller Tom Cruise movie. That's all I really have to say about it. I guess I'm going to try to watch the other ones.
There's like 8 of them now. There's a bunch.
7 or 8, I think. But
good luck trying to get through the second one. That's all I'll say.
Everybody says that one's like kind of bleh. I guess I'm going to see eventually. Also watched There Will Be Blood.
Oh my god!
It was. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah,
just pretty good.
I don't know. It didn't. I didn't watch it and end up thinking it was amazing, like everybody says it is. I don't know.
I've had so many long conversations. I won't do it now on the show, but I've had so many long conversations with people who saw that movie. Like, I mean, I guess it was okay. Like, it's genuinely one of my 3 favorite movies ever made. I fucking love that movie. And then they're like, "Why do you love it so much?" And I'm like, "Well,
it just hit you the right way. I guess. You just like movies about horrible fucking people. That's what it is."
Yes. That's the thing. You guys all like horror movies, and I don't. This is my horror movie.
I mean, I still really like it. I rate it highly, maybe just not as highly as you do.
Yeah.
The big takeaway I could like, if I give it to people, like why would you want to watch this movie is, do you like acting? There is a lot of acting in this movie. If you like
Daniel Day-Lewis.
With
actors and thespians and shit, like that's primarily like the big takeaway I got from this movie. Not so much the story.
Now you know about drinking up milkshakes too, which is a plus.
That shit's funny. Yeah, I love that shit at the end of the movie. but
no, we lost him.
But
he's still talking is what sucks. He just doesn't know that we can't.
He doesn't realize it.
Well, I don't have dead air, but also I want to wait and see what happens. Now the question is it like a temporary internet hiccup, or like did his power drop, or did a bomb just go off? Like we don't know.
He talked enough shit about There Will Be Blood. Back. He's gone. Oh, we get him.
I didn't talk shit. I was trying to explain my position better.
No, we just didn't know if
we didn't know if a bomb went off, a power went out.
We didn't know what happened.
No, the internet's just sketchy here sometimes. That's all it is.
Gotcha.
I played WWE 2K25, and I'm gonna say I beat it because it's one of those games that you have to just declare when you're done with it. You don't.
A lot of sports games are like that, yeah.
Because I've done everything I wanted to do. I beat the My Rise mode, and that was pretty interesting. And there's a replay value in that. There's like different paths in the story you can take if you want to do that. I played a lot of the showcase mode. I'm not going to play any more of it because it's like really frustrating to play.
I fucking can't. That's why I didn't buy. Like I said, I was gonna buy the new one, but like I get so frustrated with the showcase mode because you have to do it a certain way to like repeat the history. I would just rather just face them and beat the shit out of them how I want to beat the shit out of them.
It wouldn't be so bad if they didn't make timed missions in the showcase mode, so to speak. It's like missions? Some shit like. That's the only way to explain it. It's like you have various goals you need to meet in a match, and it's like when you complete them, it moves on to the next one. It's something like beat up Stone Cold, hit him 3 times with a chair in 15 seconds. That's literally like the time things suck because you know what happens is you go to try to do that and you just get fucked up and you fail and you have to like basically retry. So you get stuck retrying, trying to do some timed bullshit like 4 or 5 times. Or like even worse is if they structure everything to where you have to do like 4 or 5 objectives before you get to this timed one and you fucking fail it. You got to start all over from the beginning again. That sucks.
Yeah, and it's so annoying that obviously the AI is not going to cooperate and be like, hit me here. But like at the same time, they're just like, you'll do something and you'll half-ass it compared to the real thing.
Yeah, or like sometimes it's not even the AI; it's just like the fault of the game engine. There's like these little quirks where it's like one of the things I've discovered that sucks in the game engine is like when somebody like there's collision between the characters. Like now, some people might hear that and say, "Well, yeah," or like, "Why is that a bad thing?" Well, depending on what kind of game we're talking about and what you're supposed to do, it can suck really bad. In this case, somebody's coming into the ring. And it's not a typical collision, like it's just people meet and like nobody's recoiling or anything. But if you're like standing in front of the ropes and then somebody comes into the ring, you go, whoa! And you get blown like back, like you got struck or something. And that leaves you vulnerable. And you know what always happens? The AI will take advantage of it. And then you just get beat. And you get beat up and you can't get up off the ground. And you're like, fuck, I can't counter. God damn it, why can't I counter? Why is my counter broken? I can't get up. And then you ran out of time.
Damn.
Just shit like that. And it's really frustrating. I don't like showcase mode. They need to quit that shit.
They need to stop doing a lot of shit.
I like GM mode though. I did finish my GM mode season. I didn't win it. I got second place. And I was like, I want to do another one. So I started another one. But I'm just kind of like going to do that on the side now. Like just goofing off in that game. If I have to play something that's not like real intensive, I can play the GM mode on 2K25 and just have fun with it.
Yeah, the loop in that is good.
Yeah, it's a fun loop. I think it would be fun to play with people too. But yeah, I like the game. There's still things that could be improved. But I'm not one of these like I buy it every year people. I don't do that anymore. And that's everything I did.
You didn't watch Monaco, right? You decided not to?
Yeah, I skipped it. I was so dejected by the one I watched last year. It was seriously like I said out loud, "This is fucking boring," like multiple times.
It is the most boring race of the year. It sucks. I watched all the other ones. I might as well watch it. It's still like I was telling you a little bit when we were talking about it one-on-one. It was interesting strategy-wise because they made them do 2 pit stops. And a few other like little weird things were thrown in. So it was like kind of interesting, but far and away the most boring race of the year, which sucks because it's coming off of Imola, which was one of the most exciting ones. And then there's another one this weekend. I think it's Spain, I'm pretty sure.
Barcelona?
Yeah, I hope it's Barcelona because they were going to move the Spanish Grand Prix. And I don't know if they've done it yet because they were going to move it to like the rich part of Spain or something. I don't know. There was some politics about it, apparently. I kind of gleaned it from headlines. Anyway, Monaco. The race itself, meh. I watched it because I felt duty bound to do so, but you didn't miss much. It's fine. Gasly slammed into the back of Tsunoda. That was cool. And Antonelli ran Bortoletto into the barrier once. That's it. That was all the excitement of the entire race. But while I was waiting for it to start, I watched the replay of the Porsche Super Cup, which it ran earlier in the day before it. And it's only an hour-long race. I had about an hour to kill, and I was just like drinking coffee, eating breakfast. I thought, I guess I'll watch this. It was really interesting because I don't know enough about it, but it wasn't interesting because it was a long, interesting race. It was interesting because in turn 2 of lap 1, there was a huge wreck that took out like half of the field. And then they red flagged the race, and then I was like, "Well, I'll just buzz to wherever the red flag's over." I buzzed like almost to the end, and what they did was just start behind the supercar, and they said, "There's 4 minutes left before the next thing that we have to do with this track. So in 4 minutes, whatever lap we're on, we'll add 1 lap to that. That's the end of the race." So everyone was like starting behind the safety car. And they were like, fuck, it's now or never. So they all raced like hell for like 5 laps. And then it was over. I was like, oh, it was nice. It was kind of like watching all the excitement mashed into one little thing. But it was kind of neat, I guess. And I only watched the clip of the exciting part. But I guess there was also a huge wreck at the beginning of the F2 race. So, and at the exact same place. So after that, I was like, oh, man, maybe there'll be a huge wreck in the F1 race. There was not a huge wreck.
I heard the Formula E race was pretty good, though.
I didn't watch that. That it takes place on a different weekend, so it wasn't like part of this package. And in order to watch Formula E, you have to buy a completely separate thing. So I don't really want to do that. Like I already own. I already own the F1 TV, which gets me Formula 1, 2, 3, Academy, Porsche Super Cup, and something else. I can't remember what the other thing is, but it hasn't like turned up in my feed, so I don't go looking for it. Whatever, though. It was Monaco, and it's the crown jewel of blah, blah, blah. No, it's boring. It's a piece of shit. Who cares? They should take it off. Like, honestly, they should just take it completely off. They're always like, how do they fix Monaco? They get rid of it. That's how they fix it.
I don't know why nobody. I think it's funny that nobody just comes out and says it. Like, and they they're interviewing all these drivers, and it's like, oh, you sent me the thing George was saying where he was being like a smartass, and I'm like, silly, I bet he really just says, why don't we just not do this race anymore? But
Max said that in an interview recently. He says,
he doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean, Max doesn't care about anything. He'd say they should get rid of fucking Silverstone and laugh about it, but I don't know. They've been doing it since 1929. Like, they're married to this idea that it's so historical. They're like, we have to have a century worth of races at Monaco. We're so close. So I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But whatever. Keep rid of it. Who cares?
Who won?
Norris.
Lando won.
Norris, then Leclerc, then Piastri, then Max, then Lewis. Lewis was behind by like 50 seconds though, so it's like it was kind of like a 4-car race, a 4-car train.
Okay, cool.
I watched a little bit of Voyager, but whatever. I'll talk about that one day. It's just I don't want it every single week. I watched a little Voyager. I got back to Ocarina of Time. I already talked about that some. And then I watched 2 movies, and it's kind of a shame because both movies I watched were extremely great. I want to talk about them, but each week I try to only do that with one movie. But whatever, here we go. Wooden Cross. We're recording this on Memorial Day, by the way, which is why I chose some grim war movies. I actually had Come and See sitting out. I was going to watch it too, but after I watched The Thin Red Line, which is the movie I'll talk about next, I kind of had to like go think for a while, so I couldn't like immediately go into another big heavy movie. But anyway, Wooden Crosses. It's French and it's from 1932, and I have no fucking clue how they filmed that movie in 1932 because they're in the middle of the movie. There's like a pretty big 15-minute extended like battle. It's the First World War. There's going to be like a huge like trench warfare and stuff. And some of the stuff that happens, like those actors had to be injured or something. Because there's like explosions going off like on top of dudes. And again, it's the 30s. So I have no idea how they filmed the movie. But it's extremely good. And I didn't like have emotional diarrhea, but at the end I got a little choked up. And it wasn't like it's weird because there's nothing at the end that happens that's specifically sad. It's not like there's one punctuating moment of tragedy. It's more like I don't know. Empathy is the word I kept thinking about. It's like, man, like everything about this sucks. Like they're just like in it together, I guess. And that's kind of all I got. But I don't know. It was a really great movie, and I really recommend that one. Normally, I would say it was like the best movie I watched. But today I watched The Thin Red Line, and that's literally one of the best movies I've ever seen. I was really blown away by it. I think I went into it with like fairly high expectations, but they weren't close to high enough. It is a war movie. Like the battle scenes are shot extremely well, like on par with like Saving Private Ryan and like really great Hollywood movies. But it's all juxtaposed with Terrence Malick nonsense, like real contemplative, like stuff about nature and just like what's going on when they're not necessarily in combat. And it is just kind of about it. I don't know. It's hard to describe without just like outright talking about it for 30 minutes, which I won't do. But if Dubs, you said you wanted to see that movie, definitely see it. It's so good. Like it's one of the first movies I've rated as a full 5 stars on Letterboxd. I made myself a rule when I started a Letterboxd. I wasn't going to give stuff 5 stars just because I like it a lot. That's 4 stars. 4.5 is like one of my favorite movies. 5 stars is a movie that's going to make me think about either film or life different for the rest of forever. And this is kind of both. But it's real good. I liked it a lot. And I think it has a reputation for being long, but I didn't feel it. But at the end, I had to pee real bad because I could not pause it. I could not pause the end of that movie. I was like, I have got to see where this is going. And it's interesting because it ebbs and flows action-wise because there's like a big, stupid battle. And it feels like the movie's over, but it's not over. And a bunch of really poignant things happen. And then there's some more conflict. There's a really, really cool scene toward the end. Well, it's not really toward the end, but there's a really cool scene. There's 3 guys. They're trying to figure out why their radio contact has been cut off. So they're walking up this stream in a jungle, and they like take cover because they hear something, and it shows this really, really pretty shot of the stream coming through the jungle, and it lingers on that shot for several seconds before you finally realize what you're looking at is like 24 Japanese soldiers coming out of the jungle, but you can't see them because they're camouflaged so well. It's like those stupid Navy SEAL commercials. But like as time goes on, you're like, oh man, there's like 5 Japanese soldiers in the woods. Oh, there's like 20 Japanese soldiers coming out of it. Like they just like keep coming, and you're like, oh, these guys are in big fucking trouble. Like it's such a cool scene. But I liked it a lot. I just I don't know. I wanted to recommend it to every living person. That movie's great. You should watch it.
Did you do a letterbox review of it?
I wrote a review of it, yes, but it was kind of brief. Like, it's one of those movies where I can tell whatever I say is going to do it a disservice. Like, I'm going to try to say something smart, and it's going to make me look like an idiot. So I just kind of kept it kind of brief. I wrote a paragraph about why it's fantastic. Now,
Yes.
Wooden Crosses, I wrote a long review on that I'm actually quite proud of, but yeah, Thin Red Line, I just like, after I watched the movie, I let the credits play. I ran to use the bathroom because I had to do that real bad, but I let the credits play, and then it plays like Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack. So it plays semi-pleasant music over the title screen. And I just like sat in a chair next to a window and read the little booklet like that comes with the Criterion Collection. Cause I was like, I gotta absorb more about this movie. Like I gotta know more about it, but it's really good. Also, another interesting thing about it and Criterion editions in general, sometimes when you go to hit play, there's a little message there. The director recommends this movie be played in a dark room, or this blah, blah, blah. This one says the director, Terrence Malick, recommends this movie be played very loud. So I turned my speaker like way up, and yeah, I thought it was going to be like real obnoxious. I thought it was going to be one of those things where people talk real quiet, and then there's like an explosion or something. But no, playing it loud is definitely the way to do it. So if you stream it or something and you don't get that message like the Blu-ray has, turn the volume way up for this movie.
See, that's what I hate about like streaming services, because like the movie would be like, hey, how's it going? And then the ad would be like, do you like Bluetooth? Yeah.
Yeah, if ads would violate this movie experience, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, try to watch it, and if you do watch it and you don't get that message, turn your volume like way beyond wherever you normally keep it, because
I don't have a good system anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, my sound system sucks out loud, but it's still paid off. It is still.
Always watch it on headphones. That's better than fucking nothing. In fact, sometimes that's better than what you usually do.
But yeah, that's it. I watched some more movies. Only 2. I wanted to do so much more, but I've been doing a lot of home improvement crap, and I'm trying to pack for a trip that I'm not done packing for, and I have to finish after the show. But yeah, that's everything. So it's weird to transition from that to the close. That's why I always like one of you guys to go last. But anyway, make sure you like and comment and subscribe and follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast. We're on all the podcast programs, and we're on YouTube if you need to see us too, because Dubs always has a nice little slideshow of like some of the pertinent moments. It always helps a lot with the conversation of the movie. That's why you'll hear us say, but then this guy, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you're listening, you're probably like, what are they talking about? We're talking about Dubs' slideshow. So, you know, come watch us on YouTube sometimes and do whatever you want. And also, as long as you're there, leave a comment. Tell us what we're doing wrong, what you disagree with us on, and we'll ignore it. We'll ignore your advice because we're scumbags like that. But make sure you avoid the Super Mario Brothers movie, and we'll be back here next week to discuss it.
All right, guys. See you.